It's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good afternoon. Happy Monday, folks. Hope the weekend was good. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary are with you today. Hello, Rico.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
It's going fantastic, man. I had a great weekend. How was yours?
Not too bad, actually. I actually got to watch NFL football yesterday. So it was actually very enjoyable.
A little relaxation.
Yeah. What'd you do this weekend?
Went to my grandma's and we had a really early Thanksgiving because her and my mom and one of my cousins are going to be in Puerto Rico till December. My grandma and my cousin until I think February. So we decided to have an early Thanksgiving there, and then Sunday was just a nice lazy day. We sat around doing nothing. I watched the Patriots for 3 quarters, and then CBS was like, "Yeah, this game's a blowout. We're going to go to a different game."
That's pretty impressive, though.
And I hated it. I wanted to watch the entire game, but it's fine. Yeah,
the Patriots played pretty well, though. Mac Jones played pretty well.
Mac Jones, dirty player, good quarterback.
How do you feel about the comparisons? I saw multiple times on Twitter.
We're not doing the Tom Brady thing.
Are we not doing that?
We're not doing the Tom Brady
goodness.
thing. Mac
It's
Jones
way
is
too
Mac
early.
Jones.
It's way too early.
Yeah.
I saw this thing on Twitter, and it was like, Bill Belichick found his next Tom Brady.
I mean, he found his next franchise.
No.
He found his next franchise quarterback for as long as Bill Belichick wants to continue to be the coach in New England. But I don't know about the next Tom Brady. We'll see.
I think it's very early to tell.
If he turned into the next Tom Brady, I'd be cool with it.
Well, yeah,
I'd be cool with 6 more Super Bowls.
Speaking of Tom Brady, what was going on with Brady yesterday against Washington?
We're gonna have to ask Deep. Maybe we bring DP in for the final segment and we talk about that. But I can't tell you about that. He looked like garbage.
Well, and I will say this.
And Chase Young tore his ACL. Sad.
That's sad.
Garbage.
Tom Brady finished 220, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks yesterday against Washington in their 29-19 loss to the football team. I will say, I was bummed and I was a little annoyed with the Bucks because I had their defense on my fantasy team, and they didn't play horrible. Like, the defense didn't play horrible. It was more of they got the ball at the Tampa Bay 30-yard line. They'd allow a field goal, and that's points against me.
Yeah.
So
it's okay. I started Lamar Jackson. You would think he would beat the Dolphins and put up great numbers, but apparently.
How is your fantasy team going?
2 of them, I think I'm 500, and the third one I'm like 6-2. So
surprisingly, I am 7-2 in one and 8-1 in the other.
Look at you.
I granted, it doesn't matter until the playoffs come along, but it helped last night having Patrick Mahomes, who put up 45.
I think I won in all 3 though this week, so that's cool.
It was.
I think I'll make the playoffs in all of them. In the one where I'm like 6-2. I feel really good about it. I've been kind of smashing people, although my team I don't think is very good. I think I have Jalen Hurts as my starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And somehow I'm getting all these wins. It's whatever. It's fine.
No, it's good. As always, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Sutter Heyman text line, both of those open for you all hour long here, as well as the Sutter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. You can reach out to Rico and I on Twitter as well, Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. A little bit of a outlook of the show today. We'll kind of recap the weekend. Texas lost to Kansas, which was a lot of fun to watch. They almost blew it, but love the call at the end of the game by Lance Leipold, the former Buffalo coach, to go for 2 in overtime. You have to at that point.
You're lost to modern day Rudy.
Yeah, you're right. Also, the video of the parents, that was really
on
cool.
the other end zone, not knowing it's their kid.
Exactly. Like, is that him? That's our son.
That's our son.
That was really, really cool to see the emotion there. And I kind of want to just talk about Texas's demise, because we think it's kind of interesting here in Lincoln talking about Nebraska football. I made the decision that night after they lost to Kansas to listen to a post-game call-in show down in Austin. And the first question, I kid you not, the first question involved Nebraska. So we'll the first comment that somebody called in involved Nebraska. So I'll get to that here in a second. I want to talk about Nebraska's red zone troubles. How do they fix them? I kind of dove into CFB stats and all the hidden yardage as well that Nebraska has given up or not they've fallen short on. Whether that's all these sacks that they're allowing, all of the punt return yardage that they are allowing as well, despite their coverage unit being probably the best phase of the special teams game this season. It's
their punt coverage or kick
punt,
return coverage.
Punt. I think punt coverage. Punt coverage has been decent.
Yeah.
Now,
I feel like you could also kind of put that on the punter. They're putting it up there long enough. You've had a couple shanks here and there, but the punters this season are actually, putting enough distance and putting it up there long enough for the coverage to get down there. They haven't been out kicking their coverage very often, and they haven't been kicking low line drives right at guys where they have time to catch it, survey the field, and find a lane to get to.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on the hidden yardage thing because a Sports Source Analytics Twitter account posted all these statistics of Nebraska and talked about how Nebraska football should not be 3-7, but here they are.
If I had a nickel for every time I saw that.
Yes, exactly. And I want to kind of talk about that a little bit because yes, they're 3-7, and yes, the success percentage per play is better than the national average, and a lot of their statistics are better than the national average, but there's something missing. There's some disconnect. And the only thing one of the things that you can point to is the hidden yardage. And so I'll dive into that, talk about where they rank in terms of other teams as well, who's around them. I could just tell you right now, they rank 101st in the country in terms of net punting yards. Not good. That allows their opponents to get a very good field position, which Nebraska's defense is great, but it'd be ideal if you didn't have to rely on them every single series and every single game to win you a football game. If the offense could help out a little bit.
If your defense doesn't start on the wrong side of the 50, and they don't have to worry about, allowing somebody to get into field goal range in 2 plays, they could be a lot more aggressive, and they could possibly be even better than they are.
Exactly. And then in the middle segment here, we'll talk about Scott Frost, some of the things he said today. I have a little bit of a problem with his contract and how everything is laid out or not laid out, for a lack of a better word to say. I just think there needs to be some accountability.
You want more transparency?
Transparency and accountability, 2 of my favorite things. And that could be why Nebraska struggled, is the whole accountability, the latter part. And so we'll talk about that a little bit later on. And then Savion Morrison entered the transfer portal about a half an hour ago.
Sad.
So we'll touch on that. But first, all right. So Texas loses to Kansas. They scored, 21 points to go up 35-14 in like a blink of an eye, which was a lot of fun to watch. It was one of those things. I was at a sports bar over the weekend, and we were watching it, and I was like, oh yeah, Texas is going to come back. They're going to be able to find their way back in this game. Number one, because they're probably the better team than Kansas. Number two, Kansas is horrific on the road in Big 12 conference games.
Like 57 straight losses?
Yeah, it was not lines? Well, and Texas hadn't lost to Kansas at home in such a long time as well.
They have lost in Kansas.
They have
in the last 10 years, I believe.
They sure have. So after the game, everything happened, unfolded the way it did. And after the game, I tuned into a post-game call-in show from Texas, and the first caller says, here, I tweeted about it.
How did you find it?
I literally searched Texas Sports Radio call-in and on Twitter.
Yeah.
And one of the people posted a link.
Yeah.
And it was this.
You just went to the first one.
So I just went to the first one I found, and it seemed pretty popular here. Let me go to my profile here, because I have the quote. I tweeted out the quote earlier.
You tweeted out, I liked it. It was funny.
Yeah. Right. I just don't want
to depending on your view of things, it was either funny or sad or demoralizing or what have you.
So it was kind of interesting to hear the parallel between Nebraska, how we kind of talk about Nebraska's program, and how the Texas Sports Radio hosts down there in Austin kind of talked about their program. They took a call from caller Jose, and here is what he said, quote, "I'm worried UT is turning into Nebraska, who is in shambles and I fear that Texas will never be back to national prominence." That was one of the quotes that this caller Jose said. And he also talked about how they need to get rid of Sarkisian right now.
Well, caller Jose, I am not a Texas radio host, and I don't follow the Texas Longhorns as closely as the people you were probably talking to. But I can tell you one thing. Sark isn't going anywhere, first off. And secondly, if Texas never rises back to prominence, there is something beyond
drastically wrong
with that program, because being where it is, the history it has behind it, the cachet that's saying that you played for the Texas Longhorns, the way that carries. If Texas doesn't get back to national prominence, I'm not saying national titles, but back into at least playing for possibly future SEC championships and being in the national discussion, there's something much more serious going on with Texas, because where they are, the amount of recruits they can get and everything surrounding that program should allow them to be much better than they are.
And now they're going to be going into a conference that may be the best conference in all of college football.
And again, that should help them even more.
Exactly.
You could have 2 losses and still make the college football playoff.
Good point. And I kind of touched on this at the end of Tom and Bach there. They pay out Tom Herman's buyout after he goes 7-3. Now they pay Steve Sarkisian $36 million to come in, and there's lofty expectations. He has Bijan Robinson in the backfield. Who,
not anymore.
Yes. 3 hours ago, it announced that he's out for the season. But at one time this season may have been one of the best players in the country, if not just the best running back in the country, and that's going up against Kenneth Walker.
One of the most electrifying.
Absolutely.
That is true.
Texas is now sitting at 4-6 with a loss to Kansas at home.
Eesh.
They had a big lead on Oklahoma and lost that one when Caleb Williams comes in to save the day. You lost to Arkansas earlier in the season. Now, Arkansas used to be a top 15 program in the country.
I think they got into the top 10. I think they were 10 at one point.
But now they're not.
No.
And Texas at that time when they played Arkansas was a top 15 team.
It was a good matchup.
But now you look ahead and you have West Virginia on the road, who you think, I could win that one. Texas could win that one.
But also West Virginia's kind of been sneaky good this season.
But then after that, you have a 7-3 Kansas State team that Chris Kleiman has going and playing well.
That is a scary game.
And so you're looking here and saying Texas could finish either 4-8 or 5-7. There's a very high possibility.
If you were to ask me, does Texas finish?
They're finishing
4-8, 5-7, or 6-6. They're finishing 4-8. They're not going up to West Virginia and winning.
Really?
They're not doing that. Not without Bijan Robinson, not after losing to Kansas at home. You think those guys are motivated? You think they want to go to West Virginia?
They need to be.
West Virginia? There's no way they can. Look, man. The intensity around this Texas program right now, going up to West Virginia, is at an all-time low. And then following that up with Kansas State coming to town,
that's awesome.
You would think that they want to play good in front of their home crowd. I don't know how many people are going to be at that game. If they lose to West Virginia this week, they lost to Kansas. If they lose to West Virginia, that Kansas State game, I don't see many people being there.
That's interesting. I think they finish 5-7. I think they beat West Virginia, but then I don't think they get past Kansas State.
Give Nebraska one more win. Nebraska and Texas, both 4-8. Let's go.
Woohoo! Are Nebraska and Texas? Is Nebraska and Texas the same?
Nebraska and Texas playing in the Big 12 toilet bowl. Former Big 12 toilet bowl.
Former Big 12, yeah.
Yeah, that's what
we are firmly in the Big 10. All right, let's move on to Nebraska. I wanted to touch on Texas there because I thought that was interesting that the first caller that I listened to mentions Nebraska.
References Nebraska.
And talks about how he wants Nebraska and Texas to be nationally relevant.
If you're referencing Nebraska and a Texas call-in show, Nebraska has been in the conference for over 10 years.
Nebraska has been
national relevance.
Yeah, but he also said Nebraska's program is in shambles, which is
irrelevant.
Alert and sets off alert. All right, let's focus our attention to Nebraska. They have Wisconsin coming, or they're traveling to Wisconsin this Saturday. Wisconsin's defense, they've really figured it out on both sides of the ball. They've figured out Braylon Allen is a 17-year-old running back who reclassified and is very, very impressive. Braylon Allen, he's had to step up. We've mentioned it last week that they had a couple guys that were either dismissed or just left the program in the backfield. They had to replace some guys, and some guys stepped up. Obviously, the offensive line is reliable like it always is with Wisconsin. Chenal in the linebacking room is very impressive. Their defense in terms of scoring or total, either way, one of them ranks number 1 in the country ahead of Georgia, and then the other one is in the top 5. I can't remember. I can look it up.
I would say
really
total
quick.
Defense, because scoring defense is definitely still Georgia.
They haven't given up many points.
This
is an easy one. Scoring defense, yes. So scoring defense, Wisconsin ranks second.
Okay, see, I was right.
Second, allowing 14.6 points per game. while in total defense, Wisconsin ranks first, allowing 211 yards per game. Georgia is second there, allowing 245 yards per game.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
You do, Rico. Nice work. 402-464-5685, Honda Lincoln Hotline, Starter Hammond text line. Feel free to put your thoughts in there. We'll get to them here in a second before we take a break. But this is where I kind of want to talk about Nebraska's red zone troubles and put things into perspective. We've talked about it quite a bit. They can move the ball in between the 20s. However, when they get inside that red zone, they're halted. It's completely shut down.
Stonewalled.
It's extremely conservative play calling. It's running backs, and it's trying to find something that works.
I think they get stuck in between wanting to continue running the ball because that works really well between the 20s, and trying to, keep the defense spread out. So if you need Adrian to run the ball, you can. So they're trying to decide if they want to bring in the big bodies and pound it away with a running back, and if they can do that, or if they want to spread it out. And if Adrian can't find a throwing lane, he can use his legs. But with the fact that, he's been injured these last couple of games, he's not really able to run like the Adrian of old. That throws a wrench into your whole offense, even between the 20s, because you have a guy who's extremely athletic and can get away from pressure and create things with his legs, who also has a pretty accurate arm and a strong arm, where with the way the offensive line has been playing, he needs to create for himself. He needs to get out of the pocket, and he needs to extend plays. But when he can't run, he can't extend plays. He can't use his arm because he doesn't have enough time. As DP said before, the throwing windows are dirty. They're muddy. There's hands everywhere. There's helmets everywhere. And even if he sees somebody open, he goes to throw it. The ball has been tipped at the line of scrimmage for Adrian Martinez so many times this season. I don't know if that's a stat that somebody can go back and look up, but it's been disgusting how many times Adrian Martinez's passes have been tipped at the line of scrimmage because of the amount of pressure that the defense is getting, not directly into his face, but just enough pressure where they can get their hands up and knock the ball away before it goes anywhere.
Well, something that's interesting that you kind of talked about there, and we've mentioned it before, Adrian Martinez scrambling or making a play with his feet has been Nebraska's best play. And that's why they've gone to it so often. What's interesting and something to think about or even ponder is it's a little worrisome if Nebraska's best play is running Adrian Martinez when he's 75% healthy.
It's also pretty worrisome when the coaches come into the season saying that our main goal is to, well, not their main goal, but their goal is to not utilize Adrian Martinez's legs as much as they have in the past. And immediately and throughout this season, you have seen Adrian Martinez's legs are still the best weapon this offense has.
And it's a little concerning, like we mentioned, when he's not fully healthy and they're still having to do that, to go to that, to find any sorts of offense. 402-464-5685, Honda Lincoln Hotline, Starter Hammond text line. Feel free to call in there. We do have Chris on the line, so we'll get to him before we kind of dive into the red zone even more. Chris, what's on your mind, man?
And Chris is gone.
That might be Chris on...
No, that was it. I don't know.
Oh, all right. Chris,
gone. Call back. Please call back, Chris.
So no, Chris. All right, let's head into the red zone. Some statistics that I kind of dug up over the weekend. So right now, Nebraska currently ranks 102nd in the country in terms of red zone offense. They've scored points, not just touchdowns, just total points, in only 77% of their red zone trips. 28 touchdowns and 6 field goals. So that's 34 out of 44 possessions in the red zone. Now, if you want to add on to this, you can even talk about the missed field goals that when there's 20, when they're at the 21-yard line or farther back. And there's been a couple. There's been quite a few. So where are they sandwiched between? South Alabama, who is 5-5 in the Sun Belt, and Temple, who is 3-7 overall and 10th in the American Athletic Conference.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
it's kind of interesting.
Unfortunately, that sounds about right.
No,
the lack of field goal kicking has stifled Nebraska's offense in the red zone as well, because when you don't have a reliable field goal kicker, maybe you feel like you have to take more chances, or I don't understand the being so conservative when you don't have a reliable field goal kicker, although maybe they have more confidence in them than we do, and I wouldn't really understand that. But maybe you take more chances, and that leads to, you getting into fourth down situations even faster and farther back, again, with the Adrian not being able to use his legs. Maybe he gets sacked. The running backs get tackled behind the line, behind a porous offensive line. So it's just everything that can go wrong does go wrong when Nebraska gets in the red zone, because they can't figure out a way to get points, not from touchdowns, but from field goals.
Well, and a little bit of a side note here, Scott Frost said today in his presser that Chase Contreras will stay the starter at kicker. So despite him having some troubles, he's going to stay at kicker. However, back to the red zone, here's the weird part, and we've talked about it before also. In total offense, Nebraska's 16th in the country. And this is their smashed between Fresno State, who is second in the Mountain West Conference and 8-3 overall, and Oklahoma, who is tied for first in the Big 12 with Oklahoma State and 9-1 overall. Now, this is where there's that disconnect, and it's not only touchdowns, and it all kind of loops back together, and it all kind of circles. And it connects the dots, if you want to say it that way, when you transfer those teams, Oklahoma and Fresno State, into their red zone. Oklahoma, red zone offense. They have a reliable kicker. Second in the country. They score on 98% of their red zone trips. Not just touchdowns, but just points.
Yeah.
Granted,
that kicker hasn't missed.
Granted, that's the Big 12, where the defenses aren't as high quality of defense as the Big 10, but they're still scoring points on 98% of their red zone trips. They rank second in the country, while Fresno is 54th in the country. So not as great of a statistic there for Fresno.
What's the percentage of their success?
I didn't write that down.
Oh, that's fine. 54th.
However,
7th in the country. That's still considering there's 100 and whatever schools. 57 is still pretty damn good.
Well, and especially when you're sitting there at Nebraska and you're ranking 102nd, while Fresno's 54th.
54th would be pretty nice right now.
I think Nebraska fans can agree 5-5 would be okay right now, which is what Fresno is. Or excuse me, Fresno's 8-3.
8-3.
South Alabama's 5-5.
Be great.
8-3 would be happy. We'd love 8-3. Well, it'd be 8-2 or 7-3 because Nebraska's only played 10 games.
Maybe not talking about red zone struggles. I mean, it does come back, in the red zone. I don't want to put this all on the kicker, but it kind of comes back to that special teams unit where if you have a reliable kicker like Ohio State does, you can maybe take more chances, maybe take less chances, and just worst comes to worst, we'll get 3 points out of this. He's not going to miss.
Well, and another thing that you have to think about is in certain moments in games, if Nebraska could have jumped out to a 3-0 lead, if Nebraska could have kept on just tacking on, you never know what that does for your offense going forward in the game.
Mm-hmm.
How many times has Nebraska missed an opportunity to be down 7-3 or go up 3-0 in a game, and it's been a missed field goal? That's the whole point of this. Is it's not just touchdowns, which that's a problem in their own right, is finding the end zone when you're in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's also just field goal, and it's converting on those chip shots. We saw what it did for Nebraska at Oklahoma. They were down 7-0 after a long, stressful, intense offensive possession from Oklahoma, and Connor Culp comes back and hits a 51-yarder at Oklahoma to pull it in between 7-3, and that's where the game was at the end of the half. I
mean, the momentum that you gain from a long drive or just some big plays, getting down into the red zone or getting close, getting into field goal range, and kicking the field goal, making the field goal is exponential. Like, it's fantastic because that can energize your defense into getting a stop. That can energize your offense into, going back down and maybe finishing it off with a touchdown. But when you expend all of that energy and all of that moxie and everything that you have, and you get the crowd into it, driving down the field, and then you miss the field goal, the air just leaves everybody. It's just so somber because you're just like, we did all of that work. We moved the ball. We were pushing piles. We were getting great catches and all this, and we went wide left.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. All right, so I think we have Chris back. 402-464-5685. Chris, what's on your mind, man?
Hey guys, great show.
Appreciate it.
Why aren't Austin Allen, Omar Manning, and Xavier Betts and their big receivers in the playbook in the red zone?
Mm-hmm.
The tight end should have 8 to 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, you're absolutely. I mean,
Omar should have a handful of touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even considered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for the call, Chris. We appreciate it. And that's something that we mentioned going into the season was that you have two guys. Obviously, Vokolek's not the best pass catcher. He's more of a run blocker or just blocker in general.
But even then, he's still pretty good at catching the ball.
Yeah, he's capable. We saw it once again, Oklahoma. We saw him catch that big one, not necessarily in the red zone, but he's a big body target. Shoulder. And then you look at Austin Allen, and he's been involved in the game a little bit more over the last couple weeks. But yet you would have liked to seen it earlier on in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And you see Chancellor Brewington convert to tight end and be able to block some or stuff some guys at the goal line, which is impressive.
In there for that Adrian Martinez run every time.
Everybody knows it's coming.
When Chancellor Brewington comes in the game, you know the play.
And that's what Nebraska needs to get to or stay with, is that everybody knew. If they had watched a Nebraska game, everybody knew that when Chancellor Brewington came in and Nebraska was inside the 5-yard line, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they still couldn't stop Nebraska.
And that's what you want. That's the identity that everybody's been looking for, is this is the play we're going to run. You know we're going to run this play. Try and stop us. Yeah. We don't think you can. And they've run it so many times, and it's been extremely successful just about every single time. And I'm like, with the Austin Allen and Omar Manning and Travis Vokolek, the tight ends and everything, I'm not saying they're not involved in the play calling. I'm sure they have play calls for these guys. I just don't know how much, and it hurts me to say, I don't know how much they trust Adrian to throw into the smaller windows in the red zone, even to the bigger bodied guys.
Yeah, we're quite a bit late. Let's take a break. When we come back, Paul says this on the text line: need a running game to have red zone success. Interesting point, Paul. We'll talk about that next on the Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
State Farm, this is Bill.
It finally got me, Bill.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street crater, the mother of all potholes.
Oh.
Year after rim-wrecking year, it's tormented the people of this town. It got me good.
But State Farm's got you too.
You hear that? You ain't nothing.
You trash talking a pothole?
Yes, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to maintenance-free living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflincoln.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. November's beers of the month are from Nebraska Brewing Company, Oscar Blues Dale's Pale Ale, and Avery Brewing. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage stop at 1801 O Street.
You could celebrate a Nebraska football win with chips or wings and your favorite beverage, but Beatrice Bakery has all sorts of cakes to celebrate all victories this fall. Coffee cake, breakfast bread, artisan cakes, and especially Grandma's fruit cake. No one remembers who brought the chips, but everyone remembers who brought the cake. Make your parties memorable and your Mondays at the office better with cakes from Beatrice Bakery. They ship nationwide. Check out BeatriceBakery.com, proud sponsors of the Nebraska Shrine Bowl. Welcome to our world of yum.
Are you dragging through each day? Most people are dehydrated or deficient in essential vitamins, minerals, and more. Live Hydration Spa helps you get more out of your life with their IV hydration treatments to help with anti-aging, weight loss, endurance, and more. Their performance packages can help you feel better doing your normal daily routine with boosts of energy and vitality, an increase in immunity, and quicker athletic recovery. Call today for an appointment at 402-413-2042 or walk in at 71st and Pioneers. Live Hydration Spa.
With today's Husker Radio Report, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com. Will is back to work for the Nebraska football team on Monday after really one of the more bizarre weeks we've seen in the program in a long time, and we've seen some bizarre ones over the years. But Scott Frost, as we know, on Monday parted ways with 4 offensive assistant coaches. That means 4 new guys will be elevated in the interim position coach roles for this week's game against Wisconsin. They had a few practices last week, and then obviously they'll have all of this week to get ready for the Badgers, who are one of the hottest teams in the conference right now. Wisconsin at 7-3 controls their own destiny to win the Big Ten West Division, as they look as impressive as anybody the last few weeks. They're a 10.5-point favorite over Nebraska on Saturday. Meanwhile, on the recruiting trail, Scott Frost was out on the road, notably in the Dallas area, watching 2024 quarterback prospect Dylan Raiola, the son of former Husker Dominic Raiola. Reporting here with the Nebraska football team in Lincoln, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com.
Hi, I'm Charlie Stone, and joining me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, are you there?
Yes, I am, Charlie.
Hey, Andy, I saw on television you have more than 500 new Hondas in stock or on the way. Now, I'm sure the listeners would like to hear more about that.
Well, Charlie, it's true. We have truckloads of new Hondas arriving just about every day. What's different is you won't see them on the lot very long, because most all of them are pre-sold. And that's what we're encouraging all of our customers to do, is get in here, get their order in as soon as possible.
Well, tell me, Andy, will they have to wait long?
Not really. It could be a few days or maybe even a few weeks, but not long at all. So I really invite everyone to come on out and experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Thank you, Andy. Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln.
Lincoln's mega liquidation store is here. Wholesale Logistics is now open on West O Street as a bin store with tons of liquidation pallets, appliances, mattresses, furniture, and more. Brand new mattresses 30 to 60% off retail with well-known brands. New furniture also 30 to 60% off retail value. Brand new LG scratch and dent appliances 35 to 40% off retail. Wholesale Logistics purchases truckloads of smaller items from major retailers and throws them into bins, with everything starting at just $8. Get to Wholesale Logistics, open each Friday to Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at 2811 West O Street.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your KFXL Fox Nebraska weather. Our work week will kick off with some mild temperatures. High of 71 expected, along with mostly sunny skies. We'll see clear skies into Monday night with a low right around 41. Mild once again on Tuesday, but we will see breezy conditions with a high of 74 with lots of sunshine. I'm meteorologist Regina Bird from 93.7 The Ticket and TicketFM.com.
Barry's is back and better than ever. Join us there on Tuesday from 3 to 6 p.m. as DP goes one-on-one and Jay Foreman joins for Old School as we prepare for the Creighton, Nebraska game to follow. Drinks, food, and sports talk. Join us for it all on Tuesday at Barry's.
Nick Sainert.
Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, I do not do that thing.
Enrique Alvarez Clary.
If any of you need anything at all, too bad. Deal with your problems yourselves like adults.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here on the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary with you today. Hope y'all's weekend was good. 402-464-5685. Honda of Lincoln Hotline, Starter Hammond text line. Both those open for you. Just a brief reminder, guys from the afternoon shows, DP one-on-one with DP and Old School, and some of the other guys will be out at Barry's tomorrow, getting you ready for Nebraska ball versus Creighton tomorrow night. So that'll be fun as well. And then Wednesday, DP's out at Tanner's. DP's going all over the place this week.
DP's not going to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be wild.
It's just not going to be here.
Hey, good stuff, though. That gives us an opportunity for you guys to come hang out. So please do.
Friday, he's going to be at Wingstop.
That's right. That's right.
He'll be here today
and Thursday. Yeah. Wild. All right, let's we're going to have to make this a little bit of a shorter segment. So let's go ahead and touch on the running back room a little bit. Scott Frost announced earlier today that Sevion Morrison is no longer with the program. Last week we had heard Sevion was not there because of some family stuff, and Scott Frost was asked about him today. Here it's very short, but we'll just hear what Scott said about Sevion won't be back here.
No, I don't expect him back.
Just like that. Then he went on to say if he was surprised by Sevion Morrison's departure, and he has now entered the transfer portal. Here's what Scott Frost had to say.
You know, I love all these kids. I love Sev. Not everybody can play, and this is the way college football is going to be. So I'll certainly bend over backwards to try to help anybody that's been here and does things the right way. And we're going to lose some, we'll get some back. That's the way it's going to be every year.
So Sevion Morrison entered the transfer portal a little bit over about an hour ago from now. He has played in 7 games this year, did not play last year, played in 7 games this season, 30 carries, 116 yards, and 3 scores, but he hasn't played since Minnesota back on October 16th. And then Scott was also kind of talked about what the running back room may look like this weekend. He kind of mentioned a couple names, one of those being Marvin Scott, but here's what Scott Frost had to say of what the running back room might look like this Saturday.
It's probably going to be a combination of those guys, and there's some reps to be had right now. Ramir certainly done a good job. I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Marvin or Step got an opportunity this week, and maybe some other guys. So we'll have to piece it together. And I'm excited, though. Some of those guys have been doing great in practice, and hopefully when they get their chance, they'll grab it with both hands.
No, we kind of talked about it a little bit at the end of Tom and Bach with the pregame, me and Rico. And Sevion was a 4-star guy. He was 300. I'm looking at his 24/7 page right now. 4th best player in Oklahoma, 24th best running back in the country. 4-star coming out of high school from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and at Edison High School. So in terms of a star rating, it's a loss. However, I think that Nebraska will be okay. Actually, I know Nebraska will be okay. And it's interesting hearing all these things kind of from Scott Frost, not only because he's the head coach, but he's the main voice in the offensive coordinator room right now, the offensive playbook. Because he
was the leader of the offense before, yes, but now he's even
now he is the guy. He is the guy. So that's where he was interested about how Marvin Scott might get some touches on Saturday. Marquise Stepp might get some touches on Saturday. That also goes back to the beginning of the season. It's kind of interesting, once again, how it all comes full circle. I will never forget at the beginning of the season when we'd have Aaron on from Hail Varsity every Wednesday, and it was, what do you think the running back room is going to look like? What do you think the running back room is going to look like?
Well, so-and-so is going to get the start, and then they don't play at all.
But did we know who was going to get? We had no idea.
Well, we've heard this person's name a decent amount, so we're thinking this person's going to play a decent amount. And then, she said that about Marquise Stepp, then he wouldn't touch the ball. And then after Jacques Yant had a great game, she said about Jacques Yant, we said it about Jacques Yant, and then he didn't touch the ball. And Ramir Johnson's just kind of held that starting role since the Oklahoma game, and he just hasn't let go.
And it's been great. It's been great that Ramir has taken that starting role.
They finally, as they said in the beginning of the season, like you said, it kind of comes full circle. They wanted somebody to take control of the room and take the starting role. They were like, yeah, we have a lot of guys who can be the starter, but right now we're kind of going running back by committee. Gabe Irvin was the starter, announced starter for the first 3 games, but he'd be in for a couple plays, and then you'd have Marquise Stepp in for a couple plays, and then you'd have Sevion Morrison in, and they would just be rotating guys for series or for a couple plays here and there. And then after Oklahoma, Gabe Irvin got hurt. Ramir Johnson got the role, and it seems to me that he stepped up in practice and decided this starting role is mine, and nobody's going to take it from me, and that's what it seems like.
Which it's interesting because we've kind of talked about it before, that going back to the Oklahoma game, going into the Oklahoma game and how the game kind of unfolded, you felt like Gabe Irvin was on the cusp of just taking that job. Mm-hmm. And it took him a couple games. Marquise Stepp played some time significantly early and kind of filled that void of a power back in the short yardage situations where everybody was like, all right, finally, here we go. Back. Here we go. Finally, we're going to be able to play hard-nosed, smash-mouth football when it's short yardage situations.
3rd and 3.
Yeah. You don't have to run Gabe Irvin up the middle. And it was really a bummer how Gabe Irvin's season kind of came to an end just as it was getting started. because you felt like he was really on the cusp of taking that starting running back job, which through the first 3 weeks of the season, 4 weeks through the season, you needed him. You needed a guy to do that. And it just took time because he was a true freshman. It just took time.
True freshmen running backs don't start at Nebraska. It's
you're right.
It's one of the first for a very long time. But going back to Savion Morrison, like you said, it's gonna suck to lose him because he's a very talented individual. But in the running back room, he wasn't getting many touches, as you said. So for stats wise, touches wise, they're not really going to miss him. And that'll give a guy like Marvin Scott a chance to get into the game and show what he's got. Because, I mean, he's been here for a little bit and he hasn't really been able to see the field. So with the amount of bodies they have in the running back room, losing one of the more talented guys that you have will free up some more space if they decide to go that way, because they've kind of let Ramir Johnson take that role and stay in the entire game no matter the situation.
What's your reaction on Saturday if Zach Weinmaster starts at running back? That's your reaction.
Why is this happening?
I had to throw that in there. He has gotten a couple snaps.
Like, you can get Zach Weinmaster some snaps here and there. I'm not going to disparage anybody, but I'm just saying, you got Ramir, you've got Marquise Stepp, you've got Gant, you've got Marvin Scott. I mean, you got some bodies.
That would
Look,
make
Zach
me laugh.
Weinmaster is good in his own right. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He's a Division I running back. I wasn't a Division I anything, so I can't say anything about that. But I just feel as if the guys in front of him are more talented.
Yeah, that's funny. I had to throw that in there. And Scott kind of mentioned today that, like you heard in that clip, he's excited for what the rest of the room. And he also mentioned, I lost my train of thought there for a second. That's why I had to pause. He mentioned today that they've started going into the transfer portal, that the coaches that he had promoted to full time have been out on the road this last weekend. So we'll see. Maybe they don't feel good about the depth that they have at running back and they dip into the transfer portal.
That would be weird.
That would be insanely
That would be weird. You've got so
with,
much
with
depth.
Gabe Ervin.
You've got a running back coming in from Nevada, I think. I'm going to get that wrong.
Ashton
They've got a running back coming in Ashton Hayes. They've got so many bodies in the running back room. I don't think a transfer portal running back is something they're looking at. I think they're more along the lines of somewhere on the offensive line. Quarterback, maybe. Maybe some more receivers. I don't know. You've got a lot of receivers, but in that spot, at least, it helps to have more. Depending on Austin Allen's decision, maybe you go for another tight end. Defensively, you're losing a lot of bodies, so pick your position.
Good point. All right, let's take a break. We'll round things out next up on the happy hour.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the happy hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to maintenance-free living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflincoln.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your KFXL Fox, Nebraska weather. Our work week will kick off with some mild temperatures. High of 71 expected, along with mostly sunny skies. We'll see clear skies into Monday night with a low right around 41. Mild once again on Tuesday, but we will see breezy conditions with a high of 74 with lots of sunshine. I'm meteorologist Regina Bird from 93.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
State Farm, this is Bill.
It finally got me, Bill.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street Crater, the mother of all potholes.
Oh.
Year after rim-wrecking year, it's tormented the people of this town. It got me good.
But State Farm's got you too.
You hear that? You ain't nothing.
You trash talking a pothole?
Yes, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Are you sick of mindlessly running on a treadmill or the lack of motivation to consistently work out? Whatever your challenge, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping can help. Whether you want to lose weight, boost energy, or simply improve your overall health, you'll fit right in at Farrell's regardless of age or abilities. Build endurance with their kickboxing and strength training group fitness classes while also getting nutrition coaching. Try Farrell's now for a free week. Visit fxblincoln.com or call Jeff at 402-310-4026. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping.
Is your furnace or heat pump ready for winter? Call Bryant to schedule your home heating check. Comfortable, safe, efficient. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef is Lincoln's newest full-service butcher shop, offering premium fresh-cut steaks and house-made sausages daily from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They exclusively carry certified Piedmontese beef raised right here in Nebraska. When shopping at the Mercado, you're not only supporting local, but also enjoying the official beef of Nebraska athletics. With prime-grade tenderness and unparalleled nutritionals, your backyard barbecue is about to get a serious upgrade. Stop into the Mercado today, located off 84th and Havelock in Lincoln.
Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. November's beers of the month are from Nebraska Brewing Company, Oscar Blues Dale's Pale Ale, and Avery Brewing. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage stop at 1801 O Street.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop. But you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order online now from the new Wingstop located at 5001 O Street. Lincoln's mega liquidation store is here. Wholesale Logistics is now open on West O Street as a bin store with tons of liquidation pallets, appliances, mattresses, furniture, and more. Brand new mattresses, 30 to 60% off retail with well-known brands. New furniture, also 30 to 60% off retail value. Brand new LG scratch and dent appliances, 35 to 40% off retail. Wholesale Logistics purchases truckloads of smaller items from major retailers and throws them into bins, with everything starting at just $8. Get to Wholesale Logistics, open each Friday to Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at 2811 West O Street.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final couple minutes here on the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln Hotline, Sutter Heyman text line. Feel free to chime in that way. Thanks again to Chris for calling in, giving your thoughts on the Honda of Lincoln Hotline. Stick around. One-on-one with DP is next. He'll recap everything, get you ready for the rest of your Monday afternoon. Chicago Bulls. Yes, sorry, I was thinking about which way to go. The Chicago Bulls, Rico.
Yes.
9-4.
Wow.
Do you want me to say it louder?
I think you should. Please do.
Chicago Bulls are 9-4.
Wow. Look at them.
They just are coming off of a 10-point win last night at the Clippers. A game that DeMar DeRozan dropped 35.
Wow. All mid-range.
Doesn't matter.
Which I can't even rag. I can't even rag on that because that's
Chicago.
That's Melo's game, so I'm good with it.
And they play tonight.
I know.
It's the Bulls and Lakers
Bulls
tonight.
And Lakers. Melo got the start last night or 2 nights ago. Since LeBron is still hurt and they've kind of been playing like booty. He got the start. He didn't drop a lot of points. He dropped like 13 or something like that, but he hits timely threes for the Lakers. He
does.
If they didn't have Melo, they would be in a world of hurt.
He does. The Bulls, DeRozan last night, 35. Lonzo Ball, 10 points. He did not shoot well last night, 4 of 14 from the field. Zach LaVine, though, 29 on 11 of 27 from the field.
Look at that.
Hey,
the Knicks play
doesn't
tonight.
matter. Who do they have tonight?
The Knicks play the Pacers. They welcome the Pacers to Madison Square Garden.
Have you guys lost to the Pacers this year?
Yes, that was one of the losses. They are 7-6.
You are 7-6.
Yeah, the Knicks are 7-6. Hopefully, they can get to 8-6.
What are the?
They've had a bad stretch. They have been playing like garbage.
What's been the problemo?
The starters, just all of the starters. Kemba and Evan have not been shooting well. Julius Randle's been going iso ball for a lot of the time. I mean, Mitchell Robinson's doing what Mitchell Robinson does, but he's not an offensive threat, so it's whatever. And RJ was hot, but the last 2 games he's kind of cooled off a little bit. The benches needed to carry him. It's kind of sad.
Have you bought a jersey yet?
No, but I will.
Who Mitchell Robinson?
I want a Mitchell Robinson throwback, and then I'm trying to decide whose city jersey I want. It's between Quickly, RJ, and D Rose.
No Obi Toppin.
I just want like a regular Obi Toppin jersey.
How many jerseys?
Actually, no, I want a Obi Toppin like the city jerseys from last year, the black ones.
Are you able to get them?
The little City Never Sleeps. I don't know.
Go off of DH Gate.
What is that?
It's a.
You know what? Never mind. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, just go off of that one. That's where you get. That's where I got my Javier Baez jersey.
Should we tell the people what big guest we have on next Monday?
Yes.
So next Monday, ladies and gentlemen, we will have Husker great and Olympic gold medalist Justine Wong-Orantes.
Yes.
On the show on Monday at 2:30. So be sure to tune in. She will be calling us from Germany, where she is playing professional volleyball.
Yep. Jacob Padilla of Hail Varsity joins us tomorrow to talk hoops. Talk to you then.
Is your furnace or heat pump ready for winter? Call Bryant to schedule